In 2014, I had been to the Palace Hotel to meet a client of mine that I was providing some financial services for. This guy by the name of Farai Mtilisu, he was there and he was sitting with another young man who was from the president's office, and that the friend didn't like what I was doing. So when I asked what is that I was doing that the friend didn't like, he said, oh well, he said, well, give us money, give us $20 and we'll let you go. So I said, no, I won't. So with that, he phoned somebody at the below Central Police Station. Within 45 minutes, 6 riot police were at the Palace Hotel. They picked me up and I was bundled into the back of a van, a riot police van. There were 5 male police officers, and they demanded because now they were confused. They were saying, "Oh, is this a man? Is this a woman?" And because the charge was that I'd been to a female toilet at the hotel, so they decided for themselves to verify what my gender was by looking at my sexual organs. I was asked to pull my pants down. They looked, they laughed, they, humiliated me. We went to the emergency room, and I saw a medical person. I'm not sure whether it was a doctor or a nurse because he was all dressed in white. And so he asked me questions, he examined me. Again, I had to take off my clothes. He phoned the police commissioner and he told the commissioner that on my return to this below Central Police Station, I needed to be isolated from the other prisoners and put in my own cell. So that's basically what happened on the night that I was arrested. Because my case was deemed to be so complicated and the area public prosecutor was not on duty, as it being a Saturday, there was only the assistant prosecutor, and she felt that it was not within her jurisdiction to be able to try the case. So I was remanded, but upon being remanded, this Farai guy was at the court. He was very upset and he threatened this prosecutor lady and myself. I was taken away to a safe house and I stayed in a safe house between the day that the Saturday of my initial court appearance until my next court appearance, which was the following Tuesday.
There's no specific law in Zimbabwe that says that you cannot use a bathroom of your choice. So when the case came before the magistrate's court, the magistrate said that this case there's no charge here, there's no proper charge here. And the case was then subsequently thrown out by the magistrate. And unfortunately, throughout the region, many similar laws are being used to silence people. So this case is what we call a civil case, where we're trying to hold the government accountable for the wrongdoing to my person. This is different from a criminal case. So we're holding them accountable through damages, what we call damages for a violation of your rights. When there's clear evidence, as in this case, as we know, because the case was thrown out.
We have the capacity to be able to actually demand for our governments to account for our rights. We are quite visible to the point where we are able to actually visibilize ourselves and vocalize our own issues. If you're looking at the testimony that Ricky Nathanson had to give on the stand, it signifies the strength and the resilience that our movement right now, I think, exemplifies. So being at this point, I think it signifies the growth of our movement. This is going to set legal precedents, the ruling that comes out of Ricky Nathanson's case, which ultimately builds case law that can be able to be referenced around the sub-region itself, where other countries are also trying to push for such kind of legal remedies through the court systems. I am really honored to be living and a part of this trans movement at this time, because I know quite a lot of fallen heroes that we've lost along the way. Abo Malome, Abo Njabulo along the way, your Queen Haraj and them. they were fighting to be able to see the fruits of what right now I think is the bearing of those fruit. We're looking at Ricky Nathanson's case happening currently in Zimbabwe, looking at next week Friday with my own litigation seeking legal gender recognition and legal gender marker change in Botswana. At this point in time, Ricky Nathanson's case, as many and the many others that I've mentioned, signify the change of a status quo. They signify a change in the prevailing narrative that speak about trans persons being violated and never getting justice in the end. So in this point, I believe we are seeking and seeing the justice we have been looking for.
So now what we're doing now, unfortunately, we have to play the waiting game. And since all the parties have lodged their arguments and then their subsequently written arguments were made, so now we have to wait for the judge to to present his judgment. And we don't know how long that might take. So as part of the broader strategy within the region to navigate LGBT rights and ensuring accountability, SALC then decided to get involved in that case. And it's an important case because in this case, even though Ricky Nathanson as a transgender woman was stripped of her basic fundamental rights, the case also has broader fundamental issues. And these are holding police accountable for the violation of the rights of marginalized people. And we see it throughout the region. From a broader public dialogue perspective, I think in every democracy, it's important that we can have that conversation of diversity and the respect and tolerance for diversity.
The judge was meant to have passed on judgment last Friday, which was the 4th of August. But then he said because it was such a groundbreaking case and it would change the landscape of the laws in the country, that he asked to hand it down this Thursday. What I'm hoping from this case is that it will set precedent that will open up many doors for other trans people, not only in Zimbabwe but on the continent as a whole. Well, the fears that I have obviously are for my personal safety. You know, we live in countries where our safety cannot be guaranteed. By the simple fact that we have taken a stand and we've gone against the system, what I'm hoping is that the judge rules in my favor and that the laws are changed and that or at least the transgender discourse is put on the table, and then by that way we will ensure that we are like 50 steps forward in as far as addressing the laws and the policies in our country and indeed the region and hopefully the continent of Africa.